Okay, so you've probably felt it, right? That weird sense of déjà vu when you're scrolling through Netflix or looking at what's playing at the cinema.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like you've seen it all before.
Exactly. And it's not just a feeling anymore. I mean, get this. Over the last 10 years, the actual number of reboots and remakes we're seeing, it's jumped by more than 50%.
Wow, 50%?
Yeah. It really feels like it's become Hollywood's go-to move, you know? Not the exception. They keep pulling from the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, even though they have all this amazing modern tech.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It makes you ask that big question. Is Hollywood genuinely running out of fresh ideas? Or is there something else going on? Maybe a strategy, maybe even fear.
Right. That's exactly what we want to dig into today. We're going to unpack this whole trend. We'll look at the frustration it causes people, us included maybe.
Hmm.
We'll explore the reasons behind it. Look at sometimes it's actually worked really well.
Yeah, because it sometimes does.
And other times when it's just, well, fallen flat. And ultimately, we want to ask what this means for originality, in the movies and what it means for you watching them.
So think of this as a journey through what we could call remake culture. We'll look at it from a few angles. Its history, which might surprise you, the money side of things, which is huge,
Oh, I says.
and really importantly, how audiences, how you react, and how that feeds back into this whole cycle. We want to give you a sort of fuller picture beyond just feeling annoyed by another remake announcement.
Yeah, because that frustration is real, isn't it? One source we looked at really put it bluntly, saying nothing new shouldn't be Hollywood's motto.
That's strong.
It is, and it makes you ask what's driving this constant need to revisit stuff that was already, cinematic gold? Why remake something that was great the first time?
That's a really powerful point, and it definitely taps into how a lot of people feel. But, to really get remake culture, we need to look a bit deeper than just the latest reboot news. Remakes, believe it or not, aren't actually new.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've been part of Hollywood basically since sound came in, back in the 1930s. Think about a classic like A Star is Born that's been remade, what, 3, 4 times now?
Huh, okay.
So what's really different now isn't that they're doing it, it's the sheer amount of it. Like an average of 19 new remakes or revivals every year.
19 a year. That's a lot.
It's a lot. And they're often targeting films that still feel really recent, stuff that's fresh in our memory. Disney's a big player here, obviously.
Yeah.
They've been doing live-action versions of almost everything: Mulan, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, even Cruella, which was kind of a 101 Dalmatians prequel.
Right, the origin story trend, too.
Exactly. So it's not just if they do it, but why they're doing it so much, especially when, like you said, a lot of people feel it's just not needed.
Okay, so if it's not a totally new idea, what's fueling this explosion right now? Is this just all about the money, the bottom line? Or is there something, I don't know, more complicated going on?
Well, money is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a massive factor. Pretty much all the sources agree on that.
No surprise there.
Right. One angle is that remakes are just seen as a safe bet. For the studios, for the actors, even for brands involved. They come with a built-in audience, a fan base already there.
So less risk.
Exactly. It's often framed as an easy win compared to sinking millions into something totally untested, totally new. Some call it a cash grab, especially now when movies have to compete with, TikTok and everything else for attention.
Okay, so it's about minimizing risk. Existing IP intellectual property is just safer. Makes sense if you're in Hollywood and, frankly, worried about losing your job if a big new idea tanks.
Precisely. It boils down to name recognition and also tapping into what South Park called member berries. That warm, fuzzy, sometimes kind of uncritical nostalgia we have for things we already know and love.
Yeah, the comfort food of movies.
Totally. And this aversion to risk means studios often lean towards those popular properties instead of maybe higher quality ideas that are just unknown. I mean, look, it's true that original things like Barbie or Oppenheimer or even Squid Games on TV have made huge amounts of money.
Huge successes, yeah.
But the industry default often seems to be the familiar. It's just easier, maybe, to get the green light for the 7th superhero movie than for a totally original script.
That makes a certain kind of cold business sense, I guess. But what about the creative spark? I get the fear, the safe bet logic, but don't you also hear complaints about a lack of talent or maybe imagination among the executives making these calls? Is it really that we're out of ideas or maybe just out of the courage to back new ones?
That's a great question.
And thinking about it, is there some kind of secret sauce for when remakes do work? Because we know they're not all bad, right? Some are fantastic. It's like a Hollywood gamble. Sometimes you win big, sometimes you just, faceplant.
You're absolutely right. It's definitely not all bad. Some remakes, some revivals have been done brilliantly, especially, I think, when they bring something genuinely new to the table, a different perspective, a fresh lens, as one source put it.
Like Dune.
Exactly like Denis Villeneuve's Dune or Spielberg's West Side Story. They took incredible source material and added layers, cinematic power, new nuances. Dune, Part 2. I mean, that was one of the biggest films of 2024. It shows you can modernize successfully.
And it's not just stuff from the last couple of years either. You mentioned A Star is Born before. We've seen classics get reimagined successfully for ages.
We have. Think about Brian De Palma's Scarface back in '83. Totally reimagined the 1932 original. And that 2018 A Star is Born with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. That was actually the third successful remake of the 1937 film.
Oh, third one. Okay.
Yeah. And these films, they manage to bring the core story to a whole new audience, a new generation. Sometimes the remake can even, update a film whose original elements haven't aged particularly well, even something like Heathers. The musical in 2022 was pretty well received. It took that dark 80s comedy and gave it this energetic, kind of over-the-top modern vibe that people connected with.
Okay, but then you get the others, the ones that just land with a thud, like that cover song you immediately want to forget.
Yeah, exactly. For every Dune, it feels like there are quite a few that just don't hit the mark. You mentioned Heathers, the musical, doing well, but the 2018 TV show version, not so much. It tried to modernize with social media and stuff, but the reviews are mixed, and it didn't really capture the magic of the original.
Right.
And then there are those sequels that feel like pure nostalgia bait, but just fall short. Like, remember My Summer Story trying to follow A Christmas Story? Or the actual A Christmas Story 2?
Oh gosh, yeah. Maybe best forgotten. Makes you think some things should just be left alone, right? Like a beloved old toy you don't want messed with.
It really does. Things like the Sex and the City revival, and just like that, or the Gossip Girl reboot, or this upcoming Harry Potter TV series remake, it does make you question if it's really necessary.
Yeah, the necessity factor is big.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the general feeling from audiences often seems to be, we prefer the original. When a remake fails, like that shot-for-shot Psycho remake with Vince Vaughn.
Oh, that was rough.
It was rough. It flopped because, well, what did it add to a Hitchcock masterpiece? Nothing. And think about the 2012 Total Recall or the 2014 RoboCop. They got criticized for kind of missing the point, the philosophical stuff in the originals, especially RoboCop, where the main character doesn't even die in the remake, which completely changes the whole premise.
Wait, really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah. They kind of stripped away the core, leaving just the name.
Okay, so if it's not just about money, although that's huge, and it's not that every remake fails, then is Hollywood genuinely running out of good ideas? Or is it, like you touched on, maybe running out of the guts to back them?
Well, the sources definitely lean towards it being less a lack of ideas overall and more a lack of what the industry sees as safe ideas. You hear the argument all the time that Hollywood has run out of good ideas and is just piggybacking on the past.
Leading to a creatively bankrupt industry, some say.
Exactly. Some people point fingers at a lack of imagination or even lack of talent among the more corporate executives who run studios now, comparing them unfavorably to, maybe more visionary studio heads of the past.
But hang on, when you look at the massive success of genuinely original stories, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Squid Games, isn't it possible Hollywood is maybe misjudging us, overestimating how much we need familiarity and underestimating how much we're actually craving something new?
That's a really sharp point.
Because we complain, right?
Yeah.
We complain about the remakes, but then do we show up for them anyway?
That's the uncomfortable truth, isn't it?
Yeah.
One comment we saw put it really starkly. Because people keep paying to see them, then complain that there's no original cinema, but won't go to the cinema to see anything except for Star Wars, DC, Marvel, and Reboot.
Ouch.
So naturally, production companies are going to make what sells. It's our own fault. It really highlights this loop. Studios make what sells. People buy what's familiar, even while complaining. So studios make more familiar stuff.
So we can't really expect them to take massive financial risks on totally original films if we, the audience, aren't consistently proving we'll show up for them in the same numbers as, say, the next Marvel movie. It's a feedback loop.
It absolutely is. While there's clearly a hunger for, as one source put it, new shit, and a call to maybe exploit resources from a broader variety of creative deposits, the industry is, perhaps understandably, going to lean towards what has a proven track record financially.
So less about if good ideas exist, more about the willingness to bet on them.
And if audiences are willing to take that bet too, without the safety net of familiarity, yeah, I think that's a big part of it.
Wow. Okay, so this deep dive has really thrown a spotlight on that core tension, hasn't it? The industry relying on familiar IP, familiar stories for what they see as, easy wins, maybe cash grabs,
Right.
versus this real desire out there among audiences and creators for innovation, for
Yeah.
genuinely new stories.
Yeah, that sums it up well. And
Uh,
like we said, remakes themselves, they're not new. They've been around basically since movies started talking.
since the 30s, you said.
Exactly. But it's the sheer volume now, that average of 19 a year, and the fact that they're often remaking things that feel quite recent, classics, still fresh in our minds. That's what feels different.
And as we've kind of landed on, you, the audience, you listening right now, you actually play a pretty big part in this whole thing. Studios or businesses, they respond to what people actually pay to see, even if, yeah, a lot of us voice frustration about endless remakes.
It's definitely a complex relationship. So maybe here's a final thought to leave you with. Think about Shakespeare. His plays have been reinterpreted constantly for centuries, right?
Wow.
Updated, reimagined for different time, different audiences.
Good point.
So does true originality maybe lie less in a completely brand new plot we've never heard before and more in the unique perspective, the unique lens, and the contemporary relevance someone brings to a story, even a familiar one?
That's
Well,
interesting.
And if that's the case, how could we, as moviegoers, maybe encourage the industry to explore? Well, one source called it that huge repository of classic cinema that is utterly unknown to the average modern movie audience, instead of just redoing things we all watched 10 or 20 years ago.
So dig deeper into film history, maybe. Find different stories to bring that fresh lens to.
Perhaps. Just
Ah.
something to chew on next time you're scrolling through those movie listings.